Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how to pass your A-level English, and this probably only applies to people in the UK. I don't know if other countries do A-levels, but it's mostly for the UK. This would probably also apply for the SATs maybe in America or the Leaver Cert in Southern Ireland. It's probably the same general idea anyway, so I'm just going to give you how I personally passed English. I actually got an A at A2, so I was really happy with that. During the time whenever I was actually doing it, I didn't know if I was doing anything right, but if I got an A, I decided that I must have done something. I definitely decided to give people any advice that you mightn't hear in school, and just advice that you mightn't hear anywhere else. I don't know, maybe everybody says these things, but I definitely think that it's how I got my A. So the first thing that I think is so much more important than people would think, and it is engaging in class discussion and debate. You can make these yourself, like it doesn't have to be a set thing by the teacher. If you disagree with something that the teacher says about how something is analysed in a book or in a poem or anything like that, or if you have an idea about the character, then 100% just say it. Just put up your hand and say what your opinion is, because most of the time this will help you whenever it comes to your exam, because if you say something in opposition to what the teacher's saying, she will give her opinion back and say why she thinks yours is wrong, or else she can just back herself up and say why she's saying what she is saying and why she's teaching it that way. Don't be nasty obviously, because that's not good, like you'll get in trouble, but I mean like in a nice way. Just say, well, that you think this, because at the end of the day in English, especially at A-level, the whole way that you get marks is by saying one side of the argument and then the other side of the argument. Like for example, Heathcliff, is he a good person or if he's a bad person? Throughout the essay you will have to argue that yes, he is a good person, and here are the examples that he just had a bad upbringing and it wasn't his fault. And then however, you have to give the other side, so you argue with yourself. That's how you get the marks. For example, you would say, on the other hand, Heathcliff is really nasty. He's horrible to Catherine, he's horrible to Isabella, he is just not a good person, whatever. You just say, that's not very good examples, but do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you have to argue the whole way through. So if you're engaging in class discussion, the most time the teacher is going to explain herself, and somebody else is going to probably put up their hand and say what they think as well, because in English there's so many different ways to look at it, especially whenever you're doing a classic novel, which they all usually are, and they always have a lot of detail in them that you can go into. It doesn't matter how much detail that you're getting into, it will help in your exam, and whenever you're doing that it will help you to remember, and it will help you in your exam. The next point that I have is just a pretty obvious one, and it is read the books. Like, a lot of people don't read the books, they just kind of skip that and watch the movie, watch maybe a couple of different adaptations. But this is pretty obvious, but movies don't capture the whole thing, and you won't get as much of the themes and as much depth into the characters as you would get whenever you read the book, and that's pretty obvious. I would say if you can read the books before you go into the class, even read it over the summer. If you don't get that done, read it just throughout the year. You have an entire 8 months or something. You're going to have to, whatever, if you're in AS or A2, it's most likely up to 30 books. I know in SEA that it's like that. I'm not sure how many books that there is in AQA, but just read. You have so long. 8 months is a long time to get the books read. Even just put everything else that you actually want to read out of the way and read those, and you probably end up liking them anyway. So just give them a chance. Don't see them as something that you have to do, just see them as a way of learning and that you are reading at the end of the day. And after it you can say, I've read Wuthering, I've read Frankenstein, and you have that for yourself, and in the future if somebody asks you have you read it, you can say yes, and that's a really good feeling whenever you know that yourself that you have read a classic and that you probably end up enjoying it. It just makes everything way easier whenever it comes to the exam, because you'll know it in a lot more detail and you'll have that advantage really over anybody who hasn't read it, and that just gets you the marks. Like at the end of the day, you're wanting the higher marks, and how you get the higher marks is knowing in detail, and the only way to get the detail is to read the book. The next point that I have is to do your own research. A lot of the time you find that your own teacher will have missed out some points. No matter how good of a teacher that she is, she most likely, or he is, most likely they will have missed out details that could go into your essay, because they are only teaching at a level standard. So there is a lot more information out there for people who study at university, for example, masters and higher than that. So you're most likely going to find things in a lot more detail, and go through that, read it. You're probably going to find something that interests you, and that you feel like that you're smart for knowing that nobody else was taught, and that you know it, and that you can go next day, sound smart and say it, and it will help in your exam. You'll know it. Everything will be like, it's just the best way to go about it. Just finding extra things that nobody else will have, that your paper is unique, because the examiner is going to be reading like so many different essays that you need yours to look different. And the only way that you can look different is by picking the things that A-level teachers won't mention, because they don't want to go into too much detail. So find one point that you'll go into really much detail in, and argue with yourself the whole way through. And it's the best way is to do that, is to find your own research on the novel. So the last point that I have is just practice essays. The way that I think that I got my grades, the first time that I did it at AS I got an A, at A2 I got an A, and throughout AS and A2 I did practice essays and handed them in to my teacher a lot, just making sure that she was marking things, even whenever she wasn't asking for essays, that I'd be handing them in on my poetry and on my books that I was doing. So I just wanted to know where I was at, and you'll end up just getting a really good grade as long as you learn everything and practice everything. And a good way to learn is by doing the practice essays. By the time you get to the exam, you'll know that you have certain quotes that you love, certain quotes that you might even like, but you seem to know, points about the characters, more detail in the characters, the themes, everything like that. You'll know it so much more if you just do practice essays throughout the year, and they don't even take that much time. You get an hour for essays in AS and A2 per essay, so even time it, it's only an hour. Even if you did an essay a week, that's so much work that you could 100% get an A or even an A star at A2 by just constantly handing in essays and just doing the work. That's how I think that I did it. Like, I could be completely wrong, I don't really know. That's it for this video anyway. I hope that you enjoyed it and this was kind of helpful. If you want me to do a part 2 with more things that I think that helped, then let me know below. I am also doing A2 this year, so with other subjects, so if you want to know what I do this year, could I give any tips about how I got my grades at AS, then ask me what they are, and if you want a video on how to do well in those ones, I can give a video on those as well. Or I can do a part 2 on this where I give extra detail on how I got an A, or how I think I got an A. I also am thinking about doing a school series where I analyse classics in a way that they would be analysed for school, and tips on how I analyse, and I'll go through certain books. I can go through the AQA syllabus, the CA syllabus, the OCR syllabus. I'll go through the American ones, the Australian ones, anything, or if anybody has a particular book that they would like me to analyse, I can do that. I love doing that. I can read the book, analyse it, and put a video up if you need it for school, and try to give my own opinions on them, and maybe that can help. I don't really know, I'm not an expert, but English is like, I'm studying English, I absolutely love it, and I love analysing, so if I can be to any help, I would absolutely love doing that. I would even if with help and nobody was good, I would still like talk about them and analyse them just for my own fun. So if that would help anybody, please like this or else comment. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I hope that you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that, and let me know what you thought in the comments below, if you thought that this was helpful at all, and what you did to get your A, or how you passed it all, and I would be really interested in knowing that. Let me know if anybody's doing English at university as well. That would be really interesting for me to know, because that's what I'm planning on doing. So anyway, that's it, and I hope to see you in the next video.